to another video. Today I'm gonna take you through what I'm eating in a day. We are currently in the middle of a heat wave here in London. It is so warm, so sunny, which doesn't happen very often here in the UK. I just got myself an iced oat latte from my coffee shop. I'm gonna finish that up and then I'm gonna crack on with some breakfast. I'm feeling for savory today. You might expect a smoothie bowl for breakfast in a hot day, but I'm actually feeling for toast. So anyway, let's crack on with some breakfast. For breakfast, I decided to have a mashed pea on toast. So I just put some frozen peas into a bowl and I just cover it with some boiling water and I just let it sit for 5 minutes. Drain the peas, add them back to the bowl with some extra virgin olive oil, lemon juice, some fresh mint and a generous pinch of salt. And then I just split everything together. You can use a hand blender or a regular blender. You just want to have a creamy but fairly chunky consistency. Here's what it looks like after you blend it. It's nice and creamy, kind of like mashed avocado. I then just toasted my bread and then I also added a little bit of cashew cheese, which I would highly recommend. It really makes this toast so much more delicious. I spread my cashew cheese on top of the bread and then I top it with the mashed peas. I definitely went a bit generous and then I topped it with some sliced cherry tomatoes and some sauerkraut for some healthy gut probiotics, and to finish it off I just sprinkle it with a little bit of hemp seed. This breakfast is so delicious, definitely one of my favorite savory breakfasts at the moment. I'm gonna tuck in my breakfast. This is so good. If you haven't tried mashed peas on toast, give it a go because it's so delicious, super fresh with the sauerkraut, the tomatoes. I'm honestly obsessed with this. It's also a very great, quick lunch. By the way, I forgot to mention that this recipe definitely makes more than just for 2 slices of bread. So what you do, you just pop it in the fridge with in an airtight container and it will last for another 2 to 3 days and it's so delicious. Also, if you want to add it to like salad or mix it with some quinoa, it's honestly so good. Try it. I just finished filming a reel for Instagram, how to make my favorite iced matcha latte. So I'm drinking one of these. I think the reel is gonna go up before this video, so I will leave the link in the description box if you wanna check it out. And also the discount code if you wanna try some of the matcha that I use, which is by far my favorite. I recently purchased it and I recently asked the brand for a discount code for my audience because it's just so good. Look at the bright green color. It tastes delicious. It's not fishy or bitter. I'm absolutely obsessed with it and I'm having it with some coconut milk and a dash of vanilla. I finish up my matcha and then I'm gonna start making some lunch. It's very hot today, especially right now because it's lunchtime. So I'm making my favorite shaved fennel and cabbage and courgette salad. It's kind of like a recent discovery of mine, shaved fennel with cabbage and courgette. It just works so well and it definitely requires very minimum cooking and it tastes delicious as well. We're going to start by pat drying the cooked chickpeas so they are not wet and then they will come a little bit crispier when baked in the oven. You add them to a baking tray. We drizzle some extra virgin olive oil, turmeric powder. I'm also adding a little bit of curry powder, some garlic powder and some chili flakes for a nice spicy kick, and obviously a pinch of salt. And then we're just gonna toss the chickpeas together so they get evenly coated and we're gonna bake them in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes until they're nice and crispy. In the meantime, I'm slicing my white cabbage and I'm using a mandolin, and this is the best way to slice your cabbage or any kind of like sturdy vegetables to make salad. I'm also slicing my fennel. It honestly makes the world of a difference. As you can see, it's all very finely sliced and then I'm just kind of like peeling off the courgette into ribbons. I'm using a small courgette. We're then gonna transfer everything into a salad bowl. And then we're gonna get on with our herbs. I'm using dill in this recipe and some mint because together they're just so delicious. Make sure you chop them really finely. And then for the dressing, we're using extra virgin olive oil, some whole grain mustard,
We're then gonna add a touch of apple cider vinegar and the juice of alpha orange, and that is gonna make all the difference. This dressing is so delicious, I'm literally obsessed. Pinch of salt, whisk everything together, and then we're gonna pour the dressing all over the salad. At this point, I prefer to mix my salad with my hands, but feel free to use a very traditional spoon, just to make sure the dressing really kind of like coats everything. And then we're also gonna toast some almonds and some pumpkin seeds, and we are chopping some dried apricots. And finally, we're gonna top the salad with our crispy chickpeas. This salad is absolutely amazing. You guys have to try the chickpeas, the apricot, the toasted nuts and seeds. It creates the most delicious textures and flavor.
Alright, time to try the salad. I've made this before. I actually made a couple of times because it's just so good. I had something very similar at a restaurant in London called Granger & Co. If you are in London, go, because they're not a fully vegan restaurant, but they have so many really good vegan options. And their salads are amazing, like the best salad you've ever had. And it inspired me to make this kind of like my own version. Try. Such a good salad. It's crunchy, it's fresh. I added the chickpeas to obviously make it a bit more filling, otherwise you're gonna be hungry after 2 minutes. You can also add some things like quinoa, some cooked spelt as well, and obviously if you wanna add whatever, you know, kind of protein you like, some smoked tofu maybe as well would be nice. But I just love the crunchiness, the freshness, and the apricots. They just take this salad to the next level. I'm gonna finish this absolutely gorgeous salad, and I will see you later on. I'm going for a walk when it gets a bit cooler. I will probably gonna have like a smoothie or a juice, some kind of fruits, because today it's just so hot. But yeah, I'll see you later or at dinner time. I just came back home from my walk and I'm so hot and bothered. So I'm gonna make a green juice. I've got so much goodness in here. I've got pineapple, cucumber, ginger, celery, some kale, lime and lemon. And I'm just gonna juice everything into my juicer, and I'm gonna add some ice because I'm hot. So refreshing. I'm gonna drink this and then I will make dinner in a little bit after I cool down a bit.
For dinner, I decided to make my fresh summer rolls, and I started by making the dipping sauce with some creamy almond butter, some soy sauce, some rice vinegar, some maple syrup, and the juice of alpha lime. You just want to mix everything together just to kind of like remove any lumps until you have a fairly creamy kind of consistency. You can also use a whisk, it probably would be easier. And then we're also gonna have a few splashes of water until you have a creamy, not too runny kind of sauce. And then we're gonna start by chopping all our vegetables really finely, and that's super important. I'm using yellow and red bell pepper. You can kind of use whatever vegetables you like really, as long as they're crunchy. I'm removing the seeds from the cucumber, and again I'm gonna slice it into some thin matchsticks. I'm also slicing up a carrot. I also love to add some sliced avocado because it makes everything more creamy. I'm also using some pre-cooked and pre-seasoned tofu just so I don't have to cook anything, and I'm slicing it in small matchstick again. And then we're dipping our rice paper into some warm water until it's starting to soften, and then we're gonna transfer it to a chopping board. And then all you have to do now is just to kind of like pile up your fillings in the middle. I'm also using a little bit of purple cabbage because I really like the crunch of purple cabbage. And then also I'm using some fresh herbs. I love mint and coriander. By Thai basil would be a great option as well. To finish it off, I'm sprinkling some sesame seeds. And then to wrap your paper roll, you just literally wrap it around, tuck in the corners, and keep wrapping as tightly as you can. That's all there is. I'm not an expert in this technique, but it seems to be kind of working. And that's your spring roll. And these are so delicious. The almond butter dipping sauce is to die for. They're literally the perfect summer dinner. Okay, time to begin. By the way, these are not very neat at all, like they're a bit messy. I have to be honest, I definitely need to improve on my spring roll techniques, but it doesn't matter if they're not perfect. They're still delicious, especially when you top them in the almond butter dipping sauce. I think the tofu really makes the difference. It also makes them obviously more filling, so don't skip it. Just go for a pre-marinate one so you don't have to cook anything. And they will literally come together in 10 minutes. And you can also make them in advance, just don't cut them in half. Keep them whole and store them in the fridge with the dipping sauce. And when you're ready to eat, just chop them in half and dip. Sam is having a beer in the background. I'm officially ready to watch some Love Island. Please don't judge me, it's literally my guilty pleasure. I'm gonna have a bit of dessert. I've got these Miro ice cream salted caramel. It's vegan and it's delicious. I had this before. It's like kind of like a vegan Magnum, but oh no, it fell apart. Yeah, it is a bit falling apart, but I'm sure it's fine. That's so good. I'm going to wrap up the video here as usual. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave all the recipes in the description box. If you do make them, make sure to tag me on Instagram. I love to see your recreation. And I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you so much again and see you